Hello, guys. Welcome back to Peak Market Watch. We're here with Amanda Larson, and we're here to learn about her journey into multifamily real estate and what she's up to right now and what wisdom she's willing to share with you guys. So, welcome, Amanda.
Oh, thank you, Sandra and Cedric for having me. I know I've known Sandra for a number of years, so I feel like a little bit of a celebrity now that I'm finally on your podcast.
Oh gosh, we're happy to have you. I've been watching you on LinkedIn over the past year, and you've really
Mhm.
developed quite a following and quite a niche, right? I mean, your presence on LinkedIn is quite unique. And I want to talk about
Oh.
that, but let's go back to the beginning of Amanda Larson,
Mhm.
growing up in Nebraska, rural
Uh-huh.
upbringing,
It
rural
was
upbringing.
somewhat, I think all of Nebraska's rural compared to Houston, but yeah,
Yeah.
kind of the city version of Nebraska is as close as you can get, but still cows around and
So you
corn. So.
Was it a farming environment? Because when I think of Nebraska, I think, ranches, farms, along those lines.
It was, I mean, I grew up, it was a city, but it was still, you only had to drive 20 minutes to get to farmland. And my parents still, I mean, owned farms at the time, they still do, and the whole family grew up on farms. So I was the
Yeah,
one
so it's
city
like
girl.
a wholesome upbringing.
Yeah.
So tell us, you go to school, you become an engineer.
Hmm.
I don't know that many female engineers. It's certainly becoming more common, but tell us about
Yes.
that.
It is. So I went to the University of Nebraska and I always gravitated towards math and science and eventually decided that I was going to be an engineer and decided, of all things, electrical engineering. Um, Never would have thought it in my life, but that's where I landed. And like you said, there weren't many female engineers. I think there are probably more now, but at the time, I was one of two girls in my class, two females. And so I've always been in a male dominated space. And it's it doesn't even, I wouldn't say it doesn't bother me. Like that's even like I don't even notice it anymore. Like to have too many women in a room, it almost feels not like unnatural because it's never been my place. If that makes sense.
Mhm. Right, right. Well, I would say one of two, you're like a trendsetter,
Yeah,
right? A
yeah.
trendsetter in electrical engineering.
Hmm.
So I was looking over your bio and through
Hmm.
conversations that you and I have had over the years when we
Yeah.
meet at various real estate events. You're
Hmm.
also, you have been involved in the oil industry.
Yep. So that started almost by chance because in Nebraska, unlike Texas, not every engineer ends up in oil and gas. I would say I was the exception. And that all came through after I did my undergrad. I moved to Australia, and Australia is very heavy into their resources. And so you end up in some kind of like mining or refining or somewhere in the energy space. And so through that move overseas, that's how I got my toes or my foot into the door of that energy or resources, oil and gas type space. And so when I came back to the US, that was just I landed in Houston because of my background then, and it was all by chance.
I find that fascinating. I mean, it's one
Yeah.
thing to be one of two women in a
Hmm.
graduating class of engineers, but then to be in mining and to go all the way to Australia to
Hmm.
carry out that career. And that was for several years, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was in Australia for I think it was about 7 years. 7 years. So I moved all over. I started my journey working as a site engineer, so hard hat, steel-toed boots, fluorescent shirts, 5 a.m. starts. On my first job was a port facility for coal. Moved all over, so it was an exciting journey, and it taught me a lot of lessons, and it threw me into the deep end, I would say. But it was all good. It was a
I
good
can
trip.
imagine the deep end.
Yeah.
Did you experience any, kind of gender, one
Mhm.
woman, I'm assuming, on
Yep.
a rig or so that you're describing? I mean, how was that?
It's it's not as I mean, it is challenging. I think the hardest part was seeing a path forward. So I wouldn't say that I was treated any differently. I wouldn't say that it was, it's not as scary as it sounds, but for me there wasn't a lot of leadership, female leadership ahead of me. So to see a path forward was really challenging, and that's ultimately why then I moved from more of a construction environment to an engineering where there was a few more females in the space, and it's just more my style. I mean, some people love being on site and wearing the boots and dredging through the mud and all the things, and I learned a lot, but it wasn't my calling, I would say.
Well, you
But
stuck it out
Mm,
long enough, though. I'm sure
yeah,
you learned so much
yeah,
in that
yeah,
time to do that.
yeah,
Um, Again, I'm gonna call you a trendsetter
yeah.
or
yeah.
a rebel,
Trailblazer.
a trailblazer,
That's the
that's
word,
it,
yeah.
a
Trailblazer.
trailblazer, Amanda the Trailblazer, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Um,
But I was gonna say, so Amanda, so that's a illustrious career in engineering. What drew you into real estate, then multifamily real estate? And maybe you can give
Yeah.
some of your advice and knowledge on how you're able to make that transition from engineering into a new asset class, a new world.
Yeah, that's a really great question. I would say it started in my upbringing. My family always invested in real estate, the single family homes, some farmland. It was it was taught to me, or I guess ingrained into me, that it was a good asset class to invest in, a stable asset class. It makes sense. People always need to, a place to live. And so that's where it started. And I bought my first single family rental in 2012. So I
Wow.
was still living overseas, and I bought a foreclosure, and I had some help, obviously, renovating it and getting it rented and everything like that. And so I was already drawn to the space. What I didn't enjoy was the landlording part. I didn't enjoy the maintenance, the calls, the playing leasing agent on the weekends. And so I was exploring different ways to invest in real estate and happened upon a meetup in Houston where I uncovered this whole thing of syndications and being able to invest without doing all that side work along with it. Because at the time I still had, you know, my career that I was working on. I was working on climbing that corporate ladder that everyone talks about. And so for me, being a passive investor made a lot of sense at the time. Um,
Mhm.
and part of the reason for getting more involved was, just growing a retirement plan or growing wealth. But also, if anyone's in the oil and gas industry, you know that the cycles, the ups and downs, are are rough to get through at times. I think we're going through right now. If people are in oil and gas right now, they're feeling it. And my first layoff came, and I didn't have any other income, really. I mean, I had some, but not a lot. And so, growing that safety net, if you will, I knew I would need it because I knew that wasn't going to be the first time or the last time. And so I really started diving in deeper into more investing.
Mhm. Yeah, that's impressive. So it was building that safety net, diversifying
Mhm.
out, and you started with passive investing,
Mhm.
working with other help. And then maybe you can tell us how you've then been transitioning into more of an active role, and then with, I believe it's
Yeah.
called AMAX equity, right?
Mhm. Yeah. So as I dug in deeper, I saw the potential that it could bring on the active side. I got to know a few sponsors, and I really connected with them well, and I saw what you could do with it. And one thing that I always found frustrating, I'm kind of have a stubborn personality, and I don't always enjoy to be told what to do. And one thing when you're working for big corporations, it's doesn't matter what you do, like they always have a path for you, and you might not like that path, or you might. And so I was really drawn to the potential you could get through on the active side, and then also just owning your future. You work hard, you get the benefits. It's you're in control, and not someone else. And so I just kept diving in, asking questions, building relationships. I joined one mentoring program in particular that, helped pave the way, I would say, got me the education that I think you need if you're going to be on the active side, and just kept pursuing it and was working on it as a side, I guess, a side night hustle type thing, until a couple years ago. And those layoffs came around again. And so that's when I transitioned full time into investing.
And you haven't looked back since.
I haven't, no. I think I get a little rash every time somebody says you want to go back to work as an engineer.
Mm. Well, 'cause you own your own time and you're
Yeah.
the CEO of your own future.
Mhm. And that's not to say that it's easy by any stretch. I think I work harder and longer than I
No.
did before, but I know that
Mhm.
there's a reward at the end, and I'm in control of the time when I work and how I work. So that's the best for me.
Awesome.
How have you found, the market and finding deals and or sourcing
Mhm.
deals and building network over the past, so let's say 5 years, because these have been some of the
Oh,
most turbulent 5 years that our sector
yeah.
has endured?
I think we've gone through everything in the last 5 years, everything from starting with, I guess, 5 years ago would put us during COVID times. And that went from everyone was scared to everyone suddenly was enthusiastic and trying to dive in. And then 2021, 2022, it was still, the market was hot. People were getting in. I remember touring and putting in offers with brokers, and no one knew when it was going to slow down. It was just like this underlying feeling like this can't go on forever. Um, Really competitive market, but no one, at the same time, no one knew when it was going to stop. And then it stopped pretty suddenly. Probably, I think it was around end of 22. Um, and since then, it's been challenging, tough times to make things pencil. Investors are
Mhm.
nervous. Sponsors are having a tough time, a challenging time, and some of that's market driven, and some of it, is weeding out the really good sponsors from everyone else.
For sure.
So the last couple years in particular have been slow, a slow grind, I would say. But hopefully I see things loosening up in the near future.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, what you're explaining is what I would say all of our guests and,
Mhm.
anyone that you enter a discussion about commercial real estate investing,
Yeah.
they're just repeating the same thing. We're all feeling it. We're all experiencing it, but we're all
Yeah.
Yeah.
hopeful, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that was driven with, market demand, cheap
Mhm.
debt, interest rates, and now things are starting to kind of normalize back. So it's
Yep.
shifting. Um, I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but maybe what are some of the things that you're currently working on that you'd like to share with the viewer and keep them in the loop with on what you're doing?
Yeah, so right now my one of my primary focuses is on just meeting new investors and helping people. Maybe a lot of them are in the energy space like I was, but really just instilling in them into building that safety net or build those passive streams of income. Because even if you're not in the energy space, I think everyone is feeling that job security is not what it used to be. And unless you're prepared for those swings in the cycles, it can be more stressful than it needs to be. And having that income, either investing somehow, getting your money working for you, is going to be not it's not going to be by choice. It's going to be something that everyone needs. We've got. I don't want to get in. I have no idea what AI is going to bring, but if anything, it's going to bring. It's bringing uncertainty and instability into the workforce. So that's really my primary focus right now.
So, Amanda, one more thing that I wanted to ask you about, as I referenced earlier in the podcast,
Mhm.
you have a phenomenal LinkedIn presence. It's one of the most unique, if not the most unique approach to LinkedIn that I've noticed anyone doing. It's colorful. It catches your attention. You have all kind of great expressions. Tell me how you do that.
I wish I had a formula other than I think LinkedIn in particular recently it can be not as fun as it can be. So I just want to make it fun. Like I want to educate people but not be dry and boring and mundane. So I just bring as much personality and spark into it as I can. I think life can be fun if you decide it to be fun. So I find photos and, just me exploring the world, whatever I'm doing, I just have fun taking photos and then matching it to a message and adding maybe some humor or personality behind it, but not being the university script or the AI script that I oftentimes find on LinkedIn. And so, there's no formula. It's just me. And that's just what you get. What you see is what you get. And so investing should be
Well,
fun. Making money is fun. So
I see a fun person. I don't think
mhm.
anyone, if you're on LinkedIn and you look Amanda up, and she gets into your algorithm and you're there scrolling, you will not miss her posts. Are they once a
Yeah,
week, or how often do you put them out there?
every day. Well, Monday to
If
Friday. Monday to Friday. So
Wow, I didn't even realize it was that often. That's a big
yeah,
undertaking.
it is, and it's part of the commitment that I have, and so being consistent is one of those things, and like making money should be fun and learning how to make money should be fun. And so we don't need to go back to high school math or anything like that. So
Well, that's good to know. And we'll have the ability for people to find your contact information wherever this is being
Mhm,
posted. We'll link to your social media, LinkedIn contact, so
mhm.
to your page, so people will be able to reach out and learn more about you. But I
I love it.
guess, are there any other thoughts, comments that you have?
I do want to bring up, because as you can tell, I'm always driving the female empowerment.
Yeah.
Yes, the
Yes.
female empowerment on
Love
this
it.
uh, podcast, because that's what I love. And I
Mhm.
see that you are the president, or you can explain it more yourself, but you have a leadership role in two organizations in Houston. One of them is female centered, and the other is maybe more your background. And oh, wow, I think it was
Mhm.
your college. You tell us.
Um, so there's a few things I'm involved in right now. So I did my MBA at a school called IE in Madrid. And
Yes.
for
Uh-uh.
a number of years, I was the president of the Houston alumni. Um, a lot of people wouldn't think that there's a lot of alumni from a school in Madrid and Houston, but there's actually a pretty strong force. It was a global university. So I did that for a number of years. Right now, I'm just involved as a participant. I'm no longer the president. I was also involved in a nonprofit called Wealthwise Women, and that's probably the female forward focus that you may have seen. And we put on some virtual seminars and co-authored a book with them. So definitely want to get more women in the space. I think one of our primary messages there was women need to be at least in the driver's seat or at least know how to drive the car when it comes to their finances. Too many
Nice.
women take the backseat role and don't know what's going on, and you never know what's going to happen, either like a layoff or relationships or illness. And so many women have been thrown into that driver's seat unprepared. And so it's all about getting people women in particular educated and ready to take over that role and just be in control.
Awesome. Yeah, and actually, one of our colleagues, I believe, went to the same school you did in
Yes,
Madrid. So
yes.
Yes,
it's a small
Camille.
Camille.
Camille,
Yeah. So
Yeah,
right.
small world.
yeah, yeah.
Does he attend those meetings? He does, yeah. I know he's very proud of graduating from that university, and if
Yeah.
I recall correctly, it always comes up as, number 1, 2, 3. Uh,
Mhm.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amanda is one smart cookie.
Yeah. Yeah, but thank you so much for your time, Amanda. And we're going to have links so people can reach you. But maybe if you have any thoughts closing out on multifamily, the market, what you're seeing that you want to really stick with people as we
Mhm.
wrap this up, that would be perfect.
I think one thing that I'm really trying to message right now is most money is made like during the winter, like during tough times. And so it just takes I mean, it's a little bit scary, or people get nervous during the winter times, but that is really when the money is made. And that doesn't mean dive all in, but that does mean move forward with intention and know the numbers and follow the numbers. But I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for those willing to move forward on deals that make sense.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. People need to have grit and push through
Hmm.
in order to.
Well, it would be
Yeah.
if you go back, let's go back 7, 8 years. The
Hmm.
conference rooms were packed. There were
Yeah.
just more people than could even find a seat. Everyone was
Hmm.
interested in how they could invest. And then a lot of those people did. And now when you attend events, the same events, but fast forward where we are
Hmm.
today, 40 people, 50 people. It's a fraction of those. So a lot of people were scared off.
Hmm.
Maybe had they had a bad experience, but
Hmm.
grit,
Hmm.
the winter, the tough times, it's not for everyone.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Well, thank you, Amanda. And we
Thank you
appreciate
so
your time
much.
coming on our podcast.
No, I appreciate
All
the
right.
opportunity.
And
Thank you.